okay, what led you to making that choice? Like, why Guard and why Army Guard? Why Ohio Army National Guard? Why did you make that your choice for your career move? And why did you stay with it all this time to be able to get to the position where you are? And I'll let anybody jump in for that.
So, my plan was always go active duty. From the time I was 5, I was going to be an Army man, and that was just the way it was going to be. But at that point in the 80s, that wasn't going to be a career. I always wanted to go to college as well. So, I was going to go to Ohio State, and, Ohio Guard, of course, was the fit. For the first 18 or 19 years of my career, I was a cook. And there were limited opportunities by the time I got to E7, but I had all the schooling I needed and was in the right position that when a first sergeant opportunity came up, I gave it a shot. And, I was intimidated as hell that first formation, but I thought everybody figured it out. You stay with it. I've always enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed being around soldiers and training and leading and all the challenges that go with that. So, like I said, every time I thought I was about done, another goalie would appear, and I was fortunate in many cases to be able to open that door and go through it. So,
and was there a person, a leader? Because a lot of times we may feel like fatigue in our own careers, and even though we have the vision to carry it forward, a lot of times can you speak to like a mentor or a seminal moment that helped you kind of persevere through and get through to where you are now?
I was just going to say that, very similarly, when I was in probably middle school, I knew I wanted to be in the Army. We used to dress up in camouflage, run around the woods, put mud on our face because we didn't have camo sticks, and pretend we were in the Army and hunt each other down. So I always knew from a young age, this is what I wanted to do. And unfortunately, I didn't have great guidance to get me into the National Guard because I knew I wanted to go to college as well. And so I went into a career center, which in a career center, you have active duty recruiters and reserve recruiters. So I ended up in the U.S. Army Reserves, and the benefits just aren't the same. The benefits that we have in the National Guard with the state scholarship program and different things like that are better than what the reserves have to offer. So I ended up in the reserves, did my 3 years, went to college, and then went on active duty. And then when I was coming to the end of my active duty time, I knew I wanted to continue to serve. And to do that, it was an easy choice to come into the National Guard. I love the state community mission that the National Guard has, as well as some of the benefits that they have available as well. So for me, it was a really easy choice. And I've had, like he said, great leaders throughout my career, from time on active duty to my time in the National Guard, that have helped keep me on track or even give me guidance to push me further than I ever thought I would be.
Great. Thank you, sir. And sir, with your background with electronics, and there are so many other choices out there. Why pursue that in the Guard versus any other way that you could pursue that type of a career?
The reason why I chose the National Guard was different than General Order Sergeant Major Workley. I got in the Guard actually because my brother, who's 2 years older than me, he got in the National Guard when I had like 60% tuition per school, and he intended to go to Ohio State, which he did. He got 3 degrees in 5 years, all paid for by the National Guard. He had to work a little bit too. And his success kind of motivated me to do the same thing. However, I only went to school for maybe a couple of years and decided it wasn't for me, and decided to go more the technical route and do technical school and more practical, what I consider more practical things, so more practical college education. But during that first enlistment with the ADA, we responded to a flood response. There was a flood in Shadyside, Ohio, pretty bad one. Flattened people's houses. It was kind of a bad deal, and our unit got mobilized to do like perimeter security for, keep looters out, that kind of thing, the news out of it. And doing that mission made me stay in the Guard, because I could see the relief on people's faces when the National Guard showed up and was rolling into that area. You could just see the weight lifted off of. You could see it in their faces. And I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome to help people out like that. So the same thing that motivates General Woodruff and Sergeant Major Workley with the local response that the Ohio National Guard does for the state really kept me around. And since then, we've responded to a number of things as a National Guard. On the cyber team that I was a part of for the last about 10 years of my career, before I got to pick up for this job, we responded to incidents, ransomware incidents. Same thing. Not as muddy and kind of kinetically messed up, but you could see the relief on people's faces when the National Guard shows up to help. And that is really something.